Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning into the Medium by Design. Today's subject matter, again, in this recent series of videos, is a difficult one to share. This is very, very personal. Again, I'm trying to get out to people what a medium and empath goes through. Sometimes I'm not speaking for everyone, so please, this is my personal story. No blanket statements about every medium and every empath. This is a possibility that some of us go through. I had a dark night of the soul a few weeks back. This has happened before. It happened in 2009. It happened in 2016, which I forgot about the other day talking about this. And it happened this year, 2022. 2022 was a very, very difficult year for me emotionally. I had gone through the first 2 years of COVID. We lost family members. My parents and I had COVID. My father almost died. We all recovered. We're all alive. But we do have residuals from the virus. We do have some odd body things going on and sometimes mind, brain fog stuff. So it was a challenging year, and the beginning of the year set the tone, which I didn't understand at the time, and I kept getting messages that I had to rest. Now, I had recovered from COVID, so logically I didn't understand what was going on. And I had done some readings the first half of the year, and then by the time the summer came, my work came to a complete stop. And it stayed that way for 4 months. Now, I'm used to living in uncertainty. That's how my life has always been. I've had ups and downs. I had a 6-year run with no income at all. So I understand what it's like not to be in a flow, right? And not to be working and wondering what I've been in the void, okay? Usually the dark night of the soul comes when there's a forced change of direction, like the 2009 economic crash. I went through that and had a very visceral, physical experience of loss, perceived loss, I'll say it a little lighter, perceived loss that I had to somehow get through. When I go through the dark night of the soul, I do have suicidal thoughts. Okay, I'm not sugarcoating the video. I'm telling you like it is. That's what I go through. Because in my limited mind perception, there's nowhere else to turn. There's nothing else to live for. Whether this is rational or irrational, it doesn't matter. This is my experience. So something usually happens in the 3D world, and I cannot be the spiritual guru observer and go, oh, everything's an illusion. This doesn't really matter. Just let go and just switch it. Switch my emotions. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I haven't mastered switching from one emotion to another on an instant. When I'm going through it, I'm in it. I'm deep in it. I'm passionate about it. It's intense. Did I want it to happen? No, but here I am in a situation. And I'm sure there's millions of you out there who have been in this situation. This is not unique to me. What's unique to me is how spirit helps me through. And even a living angel, how they can help you through that dark night of the soul. And that's what this video is for. So I'm in the dark night of the soul, and the simple reason was I had no money. My bank account was going to be at zero any second, right? So you think, well, why, aren't you working all the time? No, there's these strange periods of these voids where I don't work. And then Spirit's saying, you need to rest. Now imagine you're out there, if you have a regular job and you get a paycheck and you're stable. Imagine Spirit intervening on you. Listen, you need to stop. You can't do anything. There's no work for you right now. You need to sit, rest, and your income comes to a complete halt. Just play with that vision for a minute and see what happens inside you when you go into the energy, if you're able to go into the energy of being forced to stop. And stop your daily routine and stop your checks coming in. Just see if you can feel that. So that gives you the scenario of where I was. So of course, being a soul-inspired person, my personality starts to argue with my soul. I thought you had a purpose. I thought you had a job to do. I thought you knew the service you wanted to do. I thought you had a goddamn agenda. I thought, this is me literally talking to my soul. And don't even get into what I said to Jesus. And you know Jesus is my number one. Oh, it's a good thing those are not on video. So here's what came out of it. I got up one day and a person that I knew got my attention. I was getting, and you might logically say it was a cloned account. This dead person was asking for a friend request on Facebook. Now, she's dead. She's gone. She didn't die that long ago. And I knew this woman. And I'm getting a friend request. And it kept coming up. So the third time I saw it, I went, oh, she wants to talk to me. So I invite her in. Her name was Vivian. I don't think there's a problem in sharing her name. She was a lovely soul. She came to my groups. And she came to my groups when she was in remission from cancer. So she was, really into soul searching and spirituality and learning. She was a great student of life because she'd been through this life-threatening thing. Now she had a reprieve and she was just having a blast. And she met a woman that she became best friends with. They traveled the world. That part of her life story is kind of beautiful. She jumped on it. She got in remission, she jumped on it, she met a companion, and they were off to see the world together. So that part of the story is absolutely beautiful. So here I am. Remember, this is about the dark night of the soul experience. So here I am thinking I have no purpose. My life's come to a stop. Nobody wants what I offer. I must be done. I mean, this is what's in my head, okay? Here's what Vivian had to say, just so you can see how the spirit can intervene, come swooping in to help you. I'm so glad I got your attention. There is a lot I can share with you. First and foremost, thank you for being so kind and friendly toward me whenever we met. Your groups were a pleasure to be part of, as well as insightful, thought-provoking, and funny. That is your number one niche. It is where you shine, and I was one that got to be part of it on a small scale. So needless to say, I did pass from cancer. But look at all the time I had to enjoy life, travel, and meet new people. That was what you might call the surprise gift. Like in the Cracker Jacks box. I had no idea what I would be getting, and boy, was it a surprise. I know that many will and have speculated about how my friend may have affected me, taken advantage of me, but it was not like that at all. I enjoyed having her around, traveling with her. I liked stronger women around me, and she definitely fit the bill. There's a side story to that that's not important for this video, so I'm not going to get into it. So let's talk about you a bit. I have been watching you for a while, and although I feel you are on to some incredible discoveries spiritually and beyond, and she's laughing, I do not feel you are living your best life. I can feel the intense frustrations and need for change. I can also feel the sense of loss on many planes, friends being the most powerful. I know you understand the reasons for all these losses and how energy affects you so deeply, but as you know, you are still human and continue to have human reactions to these unexpected shifts and changes. I know those that work with you are trying their best to help you cope and understand, but it ain't easy. It is easy, however, to see why a human being might hold on to certain people just because it brings comfort and connection. It is not always codependent to need another human. It is just part of living. You should get a better handle on the needs of this side of you. Even joking about wanting to, the F word, because I had said this recently, that I wanted to F, you know what word I mean, is natural. That is something humans like to do. So she's joking about my desire to have sex. As you can see, it is amazing how our attention can be on something and enjoying it for many years before we realize we have been somewhat out of balance. This is what happened to you as you so aptly watched the history of Neptune transiting your chart. This is a very astrological point she makes. I may elaborate, but maybe not. When the ruler of your first house, physical reality, dives deep into the 12th house of soul's past and is one of the most, if not the most deep planets of the galaxy, it is important to take notice. So even though it may have been a period some would call out of balance, it is exactly what was needed for you and your life of discovery. Add to that the intensity of energy bombarding you and the need to step away from so many energetic grenades, excellent word she chose there, and you have the perfect storm to be as isolated as much as possible. I guess I should take a break there and just explain that this astrological aspect had my attention in life going deeper into the spiritual side, and this lasted for over 17 years. And it was 17 years ago that my last relationship ended. So that was a physical part of my life that was pulled away. I couldn't be in a physical relationship and have not been ever since. So that's the joke about me wanting to have sex. So my soul had turned my attention. And there were so many losses in that 17-year period, even up until 2020. I was still dealing with a deep end of a friendship, which is in other videos. I'm not going to talk about that now. So to me, my experience of the last 17 years was full of endings. It just, and there were beginnings too, but the endings are what left the scars, the emotional scars. So this is getting into the void, the different layers in the void of the dark night of the soul. So the trigger was a superficial fear of money. That's the surface, right? It could be a past life thing too. I don't need to get into that now either, but that's the surface trigger. But then you get into what's been piling up to bring me to that moment. So what has been piling up is the feelings of loss and endings. And then the not purpose, the feeling like I had no purpose, that came up pretty soon in my thoughts going into that spiral, that downward spiral. So she continues, I know that the many other dimensional beings are trying to explain energetically what is happening to you, and you are slowly integrating that knowledge. But that doesn't make any of this any easier. Let's take a look at my experience with cancer. I thought I understood a lot about energy and thought I was living life pretty consciously. You can see it with your friend Adam, who's another friend of mine who also is dealing with cancer right now. He's alive. Although you had a strong inkling he would wind up with cancer because of his deep-seated anger. And that she's reflecting on a prediction I had in my head. I did not tell my friend, but 7 years ago, when we were still hanging out, I may have told him this. I don't remember. It's a long time ago, but I had a strong feeling he was going to get cancer because there were a lot of emotions, a lot of unresolved emotions. So she makes a point of that, which I thought was really interesting. As your guides have shared, this does not have to be part of your life, meaning my life, and you have time to explore and reap the rewards of all your work this lifetime. I concur and would like you to find your commitment to yourself again and to bring back that joy, power, and feisty part of yourself. You are doing it at those lunches, but dare I say, there is so much more. At some level, you know this. After all, how could you leave now? With so much not complete, with so many people who have not met and discovered you yet. So see, she's bringing that glimpse. She's trying to get me to recommit to living. and that glimmer of hope that I'm not done, right? It's easy to say it's easy for people to say you're not done, but if you don't feel like you're not done, then suicide is just another decision, right? That's how I see it. That's my take on it. It's a decision. I have free will. I can do whatever I want, right? So it is not only that you have so much to share about the hidden part of life, it is also how you present the information so naturally and easy to understand. You have taken the hard part out of this level of discovery and made it a part of everyone's life if they wish. I want you to realize that the integration phase is well underway, and all of your life will be flowing much better sooner than you think. I believe that is why you had all those moments last week. You said it yourself. You felt that the universe was saying, just hold on a little longer. Okay, let's take a minute on that. So what happened in this void and this screaming match I had with my soul, Jesus, and all the higher ups, and as a matter of fact, I will tell you, I was not open to writing from them. I said, I don't want to hear from you because you're not here. You haven't lived in this physical life. Jesus has, of course, but the rest of them are all multidimensionals. And although they carry a lot of great wisdom and they're trying to help me integrate the bigger picture of our universe, our galaxy, where humanity's going as a race, I was in a very personal, very narrow tunnel of, I don't like my situation, right? So here's what happened on the physical plane to have me hold on. Because of the financial situation this year, I had prayed and asked for help. So the funniest thing that happened was I was passing a church food bank one day, and I went in and hit it off with all the people there, and that was help. I got physical help for groceries, okay? And I felt immense gratitude. I have to tell you, I could not believe that Spirit guided me right to that church. And that's how my life works. Spirit is right there. Go in there. Get over there, right? So I don't know. I'm like, why would I go to a church food bank? I've never done such a thing. I'm not going to do that, right? So Spirit's like, oh no, yes you are. So I know many of you know this. Spirit guides you, and your ego mind is like, I'm not doing that. I've never done that. I'm not going to do that. And it could be just fear of doing that new thing. I mean, it could be that. So I go there, I get a rapport with them. So I'm going there for weeks and getting some basic necessities, okay? And I'm having a good time. I'm still in gratitude. This is before the dark night of the soul. I'm still in gratitude because this is the beginning of the no work period. So I'm not realizing, I'm optimistic. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about I'm not working because it could be a matter of days. It could be a week or two. And then boom, something happens, right? So, okay, so we get that. Weeks later, I do a reading for a woman I've known for years that I love dearly, and I don't know that she ever had a session with me. And she opened up this beautiful series with her family of readings. So there it was. So now I'm out of any concern about work. I had 3 readings. I'm like, oh, this is great, and it was profound. The work was fabulous. So the little bit of work I did this year was amazing. And that's what was keeping me going, because when I have a spiritual experience during a session, I'm satisfied. That turns me on. That makes me feel my purpose, right? Okay, so I finished that. That's when the work stopped. That's where the 4-month period happened. After that family, nothing. So I really did need the church bank. I was just going to do it for a week or two, but I really needed that. So then I did that for a while. But after her reading, she suggested this senior lunch thing. And they have a pantry. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So then I started that. And me and one of my gal pals have been laughing ever since, right? I just love going there. I meet all these people. We have great conversations. It really helped my void. It really helped to fill my void. So again, immense gratitude. But this period is going on now for a long time. And I'm like, all right, I'm grateful that Spirit's helping me. I'm getting physical support, but still, where's my purpose? And the only message I would get for 4 months was, you need to rest. Oh, you know I'm a New Jersey Italian at heart, and you know the F word is right on the top of my mind, you know. So I'm like, this is not good enough. It's not good enough. I can't live with this. And that's all the energies that I'm battling inside through this whole period, right? So she's the first one that comes to me, and then she finishes with, I also understood your extreme frustration that it had come to such a low point, and for what? It doesn't make any sense, and those around you need to be told loud and clear, if you're going to continue, you have to be physically supported in this dimension. You definitely want the communication kept open both ways. Now listen to that. That's for all of us. When we're dealing with the non-physical world, they're not physically experiencing what we're going through. And I'm not saying they don't understand, but there's a limit to them being in our shoes from the other side. And she made a very new statement that I'd never heard before. You need to tell them what's going on with you. So this is for all of us, right? And you can thank me for going through the dark night of the soul and wanting to commit suicide or considering and pulling this message out. So this is a benefit for everybody. I'm willing to go through it as long as I get out of it and I can help other people, right? That's my mission. So this is the first leg of how Spirit intervened and tried to help me. And remember, she was someone I knew. She was a living human soul, different from my other messages. I want to make that distinction because that's the theme in this Dark Night of the Soul series. There's more to come. I appreciate you watching. I hope this helps you. Please be supportive. And also, if you want a personal session, my email is below. If you want to set up a group or something, whatever. If you get an idea of somehow, remember, my work has spread into all walks of life. I have a purpose everywhere I go, even though this series I wasn't so sure. So thanks for watching, and continue the series. It's very interesting.